Hi, scholars, and welcome back. It's week 3 of POL450, Research Methods for Political Science. After taking week 2 to explore the IRB process, we're back here in week 3 working on the building blocks for our research project. In week 1, we uh, brainstormed various topics of interest. You got feedback from me on what I thought were valuable topics that would relate themselves to a research project. And this week we are going to make a research question out of those topics. It's probably the most pivotal week of the entire course because if we create a realistic and manageable research question this week, we then have the foundation set to move forward through the remaining pieces of this course, which is pivotal. So let's break down what we got going this week. So our reading assignment, as you can see, is going to be in chapters 2 and chapters 4 of our text. Then there are 2 PowerPoints, one on the operationalizing variables, and others are on how to write a research question. And then we have 3 deliverables this week. Your writing assignment, or written assignment number 3, writing a research question. Your application exercise is all about the operationalizing variables. And your journal 3 assignment. So let's break down each one of those. It's important that we understand this concept of operationalizing variables. It's a key concept when it comes to researching. And what you'll find that this week is that we are going to look at terms a little bit differently, especially in a research project. So when you would maybe refer to something as good or nice or friendly, in research, we need to understand what those terms mean and how would we measure? How would one measure nice on a scale? How would one measure friendly? So we're going to find that in research, we need to be operationalizing our variables. And in our research question, there's chances are there will be a variable of sorts. Is it equitable? Is this certain policy equitable amongst different races or different demographics. And where we would find is in that where those variable terms that within that research question is how are we going to measure that and how are we going to operationalize that. So that's going to be a key concept this week. Our second is just the basic of writing a research question. We only need to do one research question. We don't need multiple research questions that you might find in a study. We need one research question. And it's key that we have that this is manageable and it's realistic. So both of those terms, oftentimes people start with much larger scope and scale questions. And oftentimes I needed to bring it down and do like a certain very smaller, manageable piece of a research question. And then is it realistic? Is this something that can actually be measured? Is this something that can be answered? And that's a question that should always go through your mind, kind of building it backwards, is if I were to ask this question, could it possibly be answered? And if you have difficulty answering that, then you probably don't have a research question. And if you do have an answer to that, that it is manageable, that it could be researched, that it could be answered, that there could be a result that comes from it, then you have a research question. So now let's jump straight into our written assignment 3 this week, writing a research question. So this is going to be due on the 21st, and it is 25 points, and like all of it, it's at 11:59. So this week you will write a problem statement, a purpose statement, and begin to write your research question or hypothesis. Framing the problem statement and research question is one of the most difficult research tasks that any research faces. Therefore, be prepared to spend a substantial amount of time and thought in completing this exercise. A good problem statement and research question will make the rest of the paper flow smoothly. An ill-formed or poorly worded question will complicate the rest of the writing process. The details of this assignment and its structures are given below. In addition, pay particular attention to Table 2.4 in the textbook and see how a research question is generated from a topic. So the assignment structure is define the problem. So this should be 2 to 3 paragraphs describing a particular issue or problem related to a political science topic. Second is describe the purpose of the study. Keep in mind that it is hard to prove or explain things. You are better off by exploring a question. Define the concepts that will be discussed. Maybe legal definitions, maybe social, psychological, medical definitions. Define the operationalize the variables and measure the concepts, maybe either qualitative or quantitative. And give your expectations of how the variables are related in a form of a research question or hypothesis. This exercise will begin with the statement of problem, the purpose statement, and the research question portion of your prospectus. So here's an example. So this is built on the drought situation that we were experiencing, or that was a huge topic just a few years back. So the problem is California is in the middle of a serious drought, and local governments are looking for ways to conserve water supplies. One tactic used by cities and county administrators is asking residents to cut back on their water usage. However, this tactic has mixed results. Some residents have managed to cut their water usage, and some have chosen not to restrict their usage. So you can see that there is a problem. And the problem is that some residents are adhering to these rules and some are not. It's when it comes to the drought. So the purpose of the purpose statement is the purpose of the study is to explore the reasons that residents of Riverside County, California choose to restrict or choose not to restrict their water use. And as you can see, that purpose statement is manageable. Manageable in that it is very direct in where your study is going to take place. It's going to take place in Riverside County. And it's going to explore the reasons that residents of Riverside County, the reasons why they choose not to restrict their water. So you can see that the operationalize, the variable, is the reasons that they choose not to, or the reasons why they choose to. That is what we're going to measure. So the concepts to be defined are drought and water usage. The variables, drought should have a legal or scientific definition that will be used to be researched. Water usage defined in acre feet per family and will need to be researched. The expectations leading to the research question, I expect to find that there are various reasons that residents have or have not changed their water usage. Some of these reasons may be philosophical or economical or cultural. My first formation of my research question is, have the residents of Riverside County changed their water habits over the past year, or have they chose not to change their water over the same period of time, and what reasons do they give for their decision? So you can see in that question, they have either changed their usage and why have they choose. So really the data we're going to collect, the first is either a yes or no. Have you adjusted your water usage because of the drought? And if you say yes, why have you changed it? And if you say no, why have you not? So you can see that the measurement that we're going to be recording is the whys. And it goes in two directions, either based upon the yes question to begin with or the no question. And you can kind of see how that would build itself. So this is the body of our assignment. These 6 questions need to be built out. The problem statement, the purpose statement, the concepts to be defined, the variables, the expectations leading to your research, and then ultimately this first formation of a research question. I have provided to you an example of a prospectus and a template of a prospectus, and you can see how these assignments this week will fill right into that chapter 1 of our prospectus. The breakdown, 25 points, 15 that you incorporate all required components, and then 10 points for your grammar, spelling, and APA citations if needed. So there is our first assignment. Our second assignment is going to be a quiz on operationalizing variables. This quiz, you have the opportunity to practice operationalizing the variables for your study. Remember, independent variables are variables that you, the research, can manipulate or change. Dependent variables are variables that change in response to the change in the independent variable. There is no time limit to this quiz, but it must be completed once it is open. The quiz may be repeated 1 time for a higher score. So operationalizing variable quizzes or quiz. Use time management. Once you open it, you need to complete it in that one setting. And if you are not pleased with your first grade, you can take it again to get a better grade. And finally, our journal assignment this week reflects back on our previous week. So reflect on last week's IRB application assignment. We need appropriate level of comment based upon a fourth year college course. Remember, all journal assignments are based upon the fact that you are interacting with me. Like it would be a discussion that you would be personally having with me if we were in a classroom setting. So it should be structured as such. So the questions that I'm asking you would be prior to last week's assignment, were you aware that there isn't an institutional review board at CBU? And remember, I'm not asking for yes or no. At the college level that we're at this academic level, I'm asking you that question and also looking for insight. Now that you have completed the IRB exercise, do you have a better understanding of the importance of rigor and ethical oversight in academic research? And why or why not? And how would you explain the role and importance to IRB to a fellow student who has not yet embarked on a research study? So remember, I'm looking for some substance, I'm looking for some intellect, I'm looking for some discussion, and it's another 25-point assignment. Hit all aspects of the prompts for 15 and use college level grammar and spelling for the additional 10. So that is our week 3. So we can see that we have 3 assignments: our written assignment, our application exercise, and our journal. Ultimately, at the end of this week, I am looking to see if we have the formation of a decent research question. Now, don't be surprised if when you submit your work this week that you are going to have some corrections that need to be done. I do not expect all of us to have perfect research questions. That would be completely unrealistic. Based upon what you submit with your research question and your purpose statement and your problem statement, I will then give you feedback and advice, and oftentimes I will ask you to rewrite your research question. And what you're going to find is many times I'm going to want you to make it much more simple, much more manageable, and much more realistic. Sometimes, like I said earlier, we go too broad, and we need to think of it as much more simple questions to ask. And don't be surprised if you have to rewrite, and it's not that you did bad, it's just that we want to correct that this week so that we are in a good position to move forward into the weeks to come. It's a critical week. Spend some time really thinking through your research question this week. Research it, look in your book, look at those PowerPoints, review this lecture, and I look forward to evaluating all of your work and giving you timely feedback. So once again, thank you for listening. I look forward to this. Is one of the better weeks in this course because we can really see the foundation set for our research. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns with this week, feel free to reach out to me as soon as possible, and I'll answer any of those questions and get us moving in the right direction. I'll be thinking about you and praying for you. Let's have a great week, and I look forward to talking to you all again shortly. Bye for now.